The jungle of Iridia stretched endlessly, a maze of thick green leaves, twisted vines, and the strange hum of alien life. The air was humid and heavy, carrying the scent of wet soil and exotic plants. Humans had only recently begun exploring this planet, and every step into the dense wilderness was a mix of awe and danger. Mira stood slightly behind the group, her eyes scanning the undergrowth with careful attention. She was not an explorer by training but had accompanied her daughter, Lila, who worked as a field biologist. Mira's heart beat fast not from fear, but from excitement. She had always loved seeing new worlds, new creatures, and today was no exception. "Careful with that plant," Lila called, pointing to a thorny vine. "It looks harmless, but it can sting like fire." Mira smiled nervously and stepped around the vine, thinking she had avoided it. But the jungle was unpredictable. From the shadows, a flash of movement appeared, a creature she had never seen before. It was small, about the size of a wolf's paw, but it moved with terrifying speed. Its skin shimmered with iridescent colors, and sharp fangs glimmered as it lunged toward her. Before she could react, it bit her thigh. Pain shot through her leg like lightning. She stumbled, gasping as the strange sensation of venom began to spread. "Mom!" Lila screamed, rushing forward, her eyes wide with panic. Mira steadied herself against a tree, her other hand clutching the wound. You must. Remove the poison. Hurry!" she gasped. Her voice was strained, but her eyes were sharp and commanding. She knew the venom worked fast. She had read about the planet's dangerous wildlife. This was no ordinary bite. It was designed to paralyze its prey in minutes. The team froze for a heartbeat, stunned by the sudden attack. Then, instinct took over. Jaren, the group's medic, knelt beside Mira, checking her pulse. "It's spreading faster than I expected," he muttered. He looked at Lila. "We need to get her to the lab now." The team carefully helped Mira walk, supporting her between them. Each step was a struggle. The jungle seemed to close in around them. The light dimmed by thick foliage, and strange noises echoed in the distance. Birds with neon feathers screeched overhead, while insects buzzed in swarms. Every rustle in the underbrush felt like a threat. "Is the lab far?" Mira asked, her voice weak but determined. "About 30 minutes if we hurry," Jaren replied. "We can't waste a second. That venom can stop your heart if it reaches the bloodstream fully." The group moved quickly, but the jungle had its own rules. Thick roots threatened to trip them, and sudden drops in the terrain forced them to slow. Mira gritted her teeth, feeling the poison's effects creep up her leg. Her vision blurred slightly, and her breathing became shallow. Lila looked at her mother with tears in her eyes. "Mom, just hold on, we're almost there." Mira forced a small, reassuring smile. "I trust you. Humans always find a way," she whispered, even as pain twisted through her body. Finally, they reached the field lab, a small dome-shaped structure made of metal and reinforced glass. The lab was equipped with basic medical supplies and research equipment, but it was nothing compared to a full hospital. Still, it was all they had. Jaren laid Mira on a reinforced table. "We need to act fast. The venom is unlike anything I've seen." He examined the bite closely. The marks were small but deep, with a faint, glowing residue on her skin. "This is alien venom. Very efficient. If we don't remove it, it could be fatal in less than an hour." Mira took a shaky breath. You humans, you can do it, right?" Jaren nodded. "We have to try." The team immediately began gathering tools. Lila fetched small suction devices, antiseptics, and basic surgical instruments. Another team member, Kara, brought in a small microscope and chemical reagents, hoping to analyze the venom before it spread further. Mira watched them work, fighting the dizziness creeping over her. Focus. Stay calm. Think like humans. That's the key, she whispered, half to herself. She remembered reading about human ingenuity and how it had allowed them to survive even the deadliest environments in the galaxy. Now, it was their turn to prove it. Jaren carefully cleaned the wound, his hands steady despite the pressure. "We need to extract the venom," he explained. "Suction will help, but we may have to improvise if it resists removal." Lila swallowed hard. "Improvise? Like how?" "Like humans always do," Jaren said with a faint smile. "We adapt. We solve problems. That's how we survive where others fail." Mira felt a surge of pride. Despite her pain, she knew she had chosen the right companions. Humans, with all their flaws, had a unique quality. They never gave up, even when faced with impossible odds. The team carefully applied the suction device to the wound. A faint green fluid began to rise, glowing slightly under the lab's dim lights. Mira winced as the venom started to leave her body, but it was slow and stubborn. Jaren adjusted the device, increasing the pressure carefully. Suddenly, an alarm sounded from the lab's sensors. A small tremor shook the structure. "The jungle!" Kara exclaimed. "There's a storm coming. We need to finish this quickly." Mira gritted her teeth. The storm was not the worst of it. The venom's effects were spreading through her leg and creeping upward. She forced herself to focus. "Don't stop, think. Humans can fix anything," she muttered. The team exchanged glances. They could see the determination in Mira's eyes. It was contagious. With renewed energy, they worked faster. Lila carefully adjusted the suction device, while Jaren monitored her vitals. Kara analyzed the venom residue under the microscope. "It's complex," she said, "but I think we can neutralize it chemically if we act fast." Mira felt the poison's grip loosen slightly. She breathed a little easier. "Good. Humans always find a way," she whispered again, a small smile breaking through her pain. Outside, the storm's winds began to howl, rattling the lab, but inside, the humans remained focused. They worked as one unit, combining science, courage, and creativity to battle a danger that would have destroyed lesser species. After tense minutes that felt like hours, the venom finally began to recede. Mira's leg was still sore and weak, but the immediate danger had passed. She looked at the team, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You did it. Humans never fail," she said, her voice stronger now. "Even here, in the heart of danger, you survived and saved me." Lila hugged her mother tightly. "We're not done yet, Mom. We'll make sure you heal fully, and we'll keep exploring together." Mira nodded, feeling the strength of human spirit around her. They had faced a deadly alien threat and triumphed not because of advanced technology alone, but because of courage, creativity, and relentless determination. As the storm raged outside, the humans prepared for what lay ahead. The jungle of Iridia was vast and dangerous, but they knew one thing. Wherever humans went, they adapted, they endured, and they survived. Mira closed her eyes briefly, feeling a mix of exhaustion and hope. Humans were fragile. Yes, but they were fighters, thinkers, and problem solvers. And on Iridia, they would need every ounce of that spirit. The storm outside raged on, sheets of rain hammering the lab's reinforced glass walls. Thunder growled in the distance, and the jungle wind bent trees until they groaned under the force. Inside the small dome, the humans worked tirelessly, their focus sharper than ever. Mira rested on the examination table, her leg bandaged and supported. The venom's immediate threat had been slowed, but its complex nature meant it could return, if not properly neutralized. Every pulse of pain reminded the team that they had to act quickly and intelligently. Lila crouched beside her mother, holding a small vial of antiseptic. "Mom, can you tell me exactly what it felt like when it bit you?" she asked. Mira's breathing was steady now, but she frowned slightly. Sharp, burning, like heat and ice at the same time. Then a numbness spreading slowly up the leg. It's sneaky, not obvious at first, but deadly if ignored. Jaren nodded thoughtfully. That's helpful. If we understand how the venom spreads, we can stop it more efficiently. It's not just a chemical. It's designed to target the nervous system first. Fast, precise, very smart for an alien toxin. Kara, the chemist of the team, leaned over a microscope. She had been examining the faint glow left behind by the venom. "Its molecules are unusual," she said, pointing to the screen. "See this?" They bond quickly with human tissue, almost like a lock and key mechanism. Ordinary treatments won't work. We'll need to synthesize a neutralizing agent ourselves. Lila's eyes widened. "You mean we have to make an antidote? Here, with limited supplies?" Jaren smiled faintly. "Exactly. That's what makes us humans strong. We think, adapt, and solve problems, no matter the obstacles." Mira's eyes lit with pride. Even in pain, she understood the truth of his words. Humans may be fragile compared to some alien species, but they had brains, creativity, and determination qualities no predator could ever match. The team quickly divided their tasks. Kara worked on extracting the active components of the venom, mixing small chemical samples to find a stabilizing agent. Jaren prepared the suction device to remove any remaining traces from Mira's leg. Lila focused on monitoring her mother's vitals, ensuring that the venom had not traveled further. Hours passed in tense concentration. Rain hammered the lab roof, causing small vibrations, and the occasional roar of distant wildlife reminded them that the jungle was never truly silent. Despite the chaos outside, the humans worked together like a well-oiled machine. Suddenly, the microscope screen flashed. "I think I've got it," Kara exclaimed. "The venom reacts strongly to this compound. If we inject it into the tissue near the wound, it should neutralize the remaining poison without causing harm." Jaren examined the compound carefully. "It's risky, but it could work. We'll use minimal amounts first and monitor Mira's reaction." Mira gripped Lila's hand. "I trust you. Humans, you always find a way." Her words were a soft reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope and determination could shine. The injection was carefully administered. Mira flinched slightly at the sting, but almost immediately, the warmth of the venom's spread began to fade. Her breathing eased, and color returned to her face. Lila let out a quiet sigh of relief. "It's working, Mom. The poison, it's leaving your body." Jaren nodded, his face serious but hopeful. "Humans are nothing if not persistent. Even in alien environments, we find a way to survive," Kara added. "And to think, all this started with a single bite. The ingenuity of humans, it never ceases to amaze me. Other species might panic, but we adapt, we invent, we conquer challenges like this." Mira smiled weakly, feeling a renewed sense of admiration for the team around her. "It's why humans thrive, isn't it? We face danger, and instead of giving up, we fight, we think, we overcome." The storm outside began to lessen, leaving the jungle dripping but quieter. Raindrops slid down the glass in slow streams, reflecting the soft glow of the lab's lights. The humans took a brief pause, breathing heavily but proud. Lila helped her mother sit up slightly. "You'll need to rest for a while, Mom. But you're safe now. The antidote seems stable. Number 1. Mira nodded, feeling the adrenaline slowly fade. I feel stronger. Even after this. Humans, are incredible. Jaren looked around at the team. It's moments like this that define us. Other species might be faster, stronger, or more naturally adapted to the environment. But humans? Our greatest weapon is our mind and our will to survive together. The team shared quiet nods, each reflecting on their own courage and resourcefulness. They had faced a threat designed to kill swiftly, and they had prevailed. Not through brute strength, but through ingenuity, teamwork, and careful thinking. Kara glanced back at the microscope. We need to catalog this venom carefully. Future explorers might face it, and they'll need our knowledge. Humans don't just survive. We prepare, we learn, and we improve. Lila smiled at her mother. You see, Mom? It's not luck. It's who we are. Humans fight. Humans think. Humans solve impossible problems. And that's why we keep going. No matter what. Mira closed her eyes briefly, taking a deep breath. The pain had eased, replaced by a profound sense of respect and awe. She had witnessed firsthand what made humans extraordinary. Their strength was not just physical, it was in their courage, creativity, and persistence. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed outside. One of the reinforced lab walls had been struck by a falling branch. The storm wasn't over yet, and the jungle was still alive with potential threats. Jaren stood quickly. We can't stay idle. The antidote worked, but we need to ensure it stays effective, and we need to prepare for anything else the jungle might throw at us. Lila helped her mother to a safer spot on the examination table. We'll handle it, Mom. We always do. Mira looked around the lab, at the humans working with calm determination despite the storm, and felt a sense of hope she hadn't expected. Yes. Humans. We survive. We adapt. We fight. We overcome. The lab hummed with activity. Lights flickering as instruments processed data. Chemicals mixed precisely. And monitors tracked Mira's improving condition. Outside, the storm continued to rage. But inside, human ingenuity shone brighter than ever. Hours passed as the team documented the venom, tested the antidote's stability, and ensured Mira's full recovery. Their work was precise, tireless, and relentless. Every step reflected the very essence of humanity. A refusal to give in, a drive to understand, and the courage to face danger head-on. By the time the rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, Mira was sitting upright, her strength returning. Lila helped her stand for the first time since the bite. You did it, Mom. You're safe, and we've learned so much from this. Mira smiled, gripping her daughter's hand tightly. Yes, and it's proof that humans can overcome anything, even the deadliest alien threats, because we never stop trying. Jaren clapped a hand on Lila's shoulder. Tomorrow, we'll venture back into the jungle. With what we've learned today, we'll be better prepared, stronger, and smarter. Humans adapt, survive, and thrive. Kara nodded, looking out at the wet jungle. Every challenge we face is a chance to grow. Today was dangerous, but it showed what we can do together. Mira took a deep breath, looking at the team, at the tools, and at the jungle beyond the lab walls. She realized that danger was not the end. It was a test. And humans, in all their fragile, brilliant glory, had passed it. The night stretched on, quiet now except for the occasional drip of rain from the lab roof. But even in the calm, the humans knew that Iridia was alive and full of challenges. And yet, nothing could shake their determination. Not alien venom, not storms, not the unknown. Humans had one advantage that no alien predator could ever take away: the ability to think, to adapt, and to fight together. And in that strength, they would continue to explore, survive, and thrive even on worlds as strange and dangerous as Iridia. Mira finally allowed herself to rest, knowing that tomorrow would bring more challenges, but that the humans around her would meet them head-on. She had witnessed human ingenuity in action, and it was awe-inspiring. The jungle waited. But so did humanity, and humanity would always find a way. The sun rose over Iridia's dense jungle, casting streaks of golden light through thick leaves. The air was humid and heavy, still carrying the scent of wet soil and alien flora from the night's storm. Mira, now rested and stronger after the venom incident, stood at the entrance of the field lab. Her leg was bandaged, but she could walk steadily. Around her, the team prepared their equipment for another day in the wilderness. Lila adjusted her backpack, checking that all sensors and communication devices were working. "We have to be extra careful today," she said. "Yesterday was dangerous, but today could be worse. The jungle seems to sense weakness." Jaren nodded, securing a medical kit. "Exactly. But we're better prepared. We know the venom, we know the terrain, and we know what we can do as humans. That counts for a lot." "Jaren?" Kara adjusted her chemical instruments in a small case. "I've stabilized the antidote formula. If anything bites or injects venom, we'll have a faster response this time. But we still have to avoid unnecessary risks." Mira looked around at the team. Their faces showed focus and determination, the kind only humans could sustain under pressure. Fragile? Yes. But clever, brave, and resilient? Even more. The jungle greeted them with a symphony of sounds. Alien birds with metallic-colored wings screeched overhead, insects buzzed in thick clouds, and the leaves rustled as small creatures moved unseen. Every step they took was careful, calculated. Roots twisted across the forest floor like the veins of a giant creature, and thick vines hung down like natural traps. "Stay close," Jaren instructed. "Watch the ground and the canopy. Iridia's predators are fast, silent, and curious." They had not gone far when movement caught Lila's attention. A group of small creatures with translucent skin and glowing eyes darted between the trees. They were not aggressive, but curious. Lila pointed them out. "Look, they're watching us." Mira knelt for a closer look, her curiosity overcoming any lingering fear. Fascinating. Even here, life adapts. The jungle is full of surprises. But we humans, we adapt even faster. Suddenly, a loud screech pierced the air. The glowing-eyed creatures scattered in all directions. From the shadows, a larger predator emerged. Its body was covered in scales that shifted colors like liquid metal. Its claws were sharp, and its eyes glowed an ominous yellow. "Back up slowly," Jaren ordered. The team obeyed, moving carefully without making sudden movements. Humans had no natural weapons against this creature, but they had something far more valuable: brains and ingenuity. Kara whispered. "We can't outrun it, but we can create a diversion." She grabbed a small flare and threw it to the side. It ignited, bright and red, drawing the predator's attention. The creature hesitated, then approached the light cautiously. "Good thinking," Jaren said. "Humans use tools, brains, and strategy. That's how we survive against bigger, stronger threats." The team continued forward, keeping their focus on the path while observing every detail of the jungle. They knew that danger could come from any direction, but they were prepared to respond. Humans thrived under challenges like these because of their ability to improvise, learn, and cooperate. As they moved deeper, they came across a river. The water was fast, dark, and teeming with unseen life. A fallen log acted as a bridge, but it was slick with rain. Lila stepped carefully, testing it with her foot first. "We need balance and focus. One mistake, and..." She trailed off, letting the jungle speak for itself. Mira watched her daughter. "Humans always find a way," she said softly. "Even when nature seems unbeatable, we find paths, tools, solutions. That's why we endure." Jaren nodded, crossing the log first to steady it. Teamwork. Observation. Caution humans survive, where others would fail. The team reached the far side safely, though their hearts pounded. Even minor obstacles became life or death tests on Iridia. The jungle challenged them constantly, and each success reinforced their sense of ingenuity and resilience. Hours passed as they mapped the area, documented plants, and collected samples. Suddenly, Kara froze, pointing to a thick bush nearby. Something's moving. Large. Fast. And it's coming toward us. The team crouched behind a nearby tree. Out of the dense foliage, a massive, quadrupedal predator emerged. Its fur shimmered like molten metal, and its eyes glowed red. Its claws left deep impressions in the soft soil. Not much we can do physically, Jaren whispered. But humans don't rely solely on strength. Observe, plan, act. He grabbed a small net launcher and fired it toward a nearby branch. The net tangled around the creature's leg, slowing it down. The predator roared, shaking violently. It wasn't caught, but it was distracted. Now! Jaren shouted. The team scattered, moving in coordinated directions to confuse the predator. Lila threw another flare to the side. Mira found a small branch and clanged it against a rock, producing a loud noise. The predator, disoriented and cautious, retreated back into the jungle. Breathing heavily, Mira looked at the team. Humans, use brains over brawn. That's our power. Not just running or fighting, but thinking, planning, working together. Kara smiled, catching her breath. It's incredible. This jungle could have killed us in seconds. But humans, we improvise, we analyze, we act. That's why we endure. The group continued, now more vigilant than ever. Each shadow, each rustle, was observed carefully. Every challenge was a test of their patience, intellect, and cooperation. They soon arrived at a steep cliff overlooking a deep valley. Strange plants with glowing spores grew along the edges, and the wind howled as if warning them to turn back. Crossing the cliff was dangerous, but the team needed to reach a plateau on the other side. Jaren surveyed the area. We can't climb down, it's too risky. But we can make a temporary bridge using vines. It will require balance, precision, and courage. Mira adjusted her gear. Humans solve problems. We create paths where none exist. We face fear and turn it into action. Lila and Kara helped tie vines together, creating a sturdy but flexible bridge across the chasm. Jaren tested it first, carefully stepping across. The team followed, moving slowly, communicating constantly to maintain balance. Halfway across, the bridge swayed under their weight. Mira's heart raced, but she focused. Humans, focus, endure, survive. One step at a time. Finally, they reached the other side safely. Their muscles ached, and adrenaline still coursed through their veins. But they had overcome the obstacle. Every member felt a surge of pride. Humans were not the strongest species on Iridia, but no predator, no terrain, no venom could stop them if they worked together and thought carefully. As night approached, the team set up a small camp. They lit a controlled fire, cooked a simple meal, and reviewed the day's findings. The jungle noises continued, but inside their camp, they felt a sense of security and accomplishment. Mira sat quietly, reflecting on the day. We faced dangers. We adapted. We survived. Humans are remarkable. We think. We cooperate. We innovate. That is our true strength. Lila nodded. We will face more dangers tomorrow, but today proved that humans can handle anything, even a jungle full of predators and venomous creatures. Jaren added, and it's not just about surviving. It's about learning, improving, preparing for the next challenge. That's what humans do, constantly evolve through experience, courage, and intelligence. Kara smiled, looking at the glowing spores of nearby plants. The jungle tests us, but it also teaches us. Every obstacle we overcome makes us stronger, smarter, more capable. That's human spirit. Mira finally lay down, exhausted but content. She felt a deep sense of pride and hope. The jungle was alive, wild, and dangerous. But humans, fragile, yet brilliant, would continue to face it head-on. They adapted, they survived, and they thrived. The night settled over the jungle. Stars shone faintly through the thick canopy, and distant creatures called to each other. The humans rested, but their minds remained alert, prepared for whatever challenges tomorrow might bring. For humans, danger was never the end, it was a test. And humans, with their ingenuity, courage, and cooperation, always passed. Tomorrow, the jungle would rise again. The sun had barely risen when the team packed up their small camp. The jungle of Iridia was alive with sounds, birds with iridescent wings calling to one another, insects humming in swarms, and the distant roar of unknown predators. Mira's leg was still sore from the venom, but she walked steadily, supported by her daughter, Leela, and Jaren. "We need to push forward," Jaren said. "There's a plateau ahead, where we can set up a more permanent base. But we have to be cautious. Yesterday showed us that Iridia doesn't forgive mistakes." The team moved carefully, scanning every inch of the dense forest. Thick vines hung down from enormous trees, while roots twisted across the forest floor like the fingers of some ancient creature. The ground was slick with rainwater from the previous day's storm, making each step a test of balance and attention. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the shadows. The team froze. From the undergrowth, a massive predator emerged taller than any human and covered in shimmering black scales. Its eyes glowed crimson, and its claws scraped the ground as it advanced. "Stay calm," Jaren whispered. "We've faced this before. Observe, plan, act." Kara scanned the area and spotted a fallen tree trunk that could serve as a barrier. "We can use it as cover," she said. "Humans are clever, not just strong. Let's make a plan." Mira gritted her teeth. "We survive because we think, not just run. Focus. Humans. Think. Adapt. Overcome." The team split strategically. Jaren and Kara moved to the left, ready to use tools and distractions, while Lila stayed close to Mira, keeping her mother behind the natural barrier. Jaren picked up a small flare and hurled it to the right. The predator snarled and turned its attention to the light. "That's it," Jaren said. "We use its curiosity against it. Humans solve problems creatively." While the predator investigated the flare, Kara activated a small device she had improvised from their equipment. It emitted a series of high-frequency sounds that confused the creature's senses. The predator roared in frustration, stumbling as it tried to locate the team. "Now!" Jaren shouted. The humans moved swiftly, coordinating their steps with precision. They didn't have claws or fangs, but they had brains, tools, and courage. Humans could turn the tables on stronger predators through careful observation and fast thinking. The predator recovered and lunged toward them. Mira's heart pounded, but she steadied herself. Humans never give up, even against bigger, stronger threats. Leela grabbed a vine and swung it like a lasso, tangling it around the creature's leg. It stumbled again, and Jaren used the opportunity to launch another flare, leading it further away. Finally, the predator, confused and irritated, retreated into the jungle. The team exhaled, their hearts still racing. Mira's eyes shone with pride. "See, humans. Endure, adapt, survive. That's our power." As they continued, the terrain became more treacherous. A steep ravine blocked their path, with a fast-moving river at the bottom. The only way forward was to descend carefully, cross the river, and climb the opposite side. Jaren studied the ravine. We can't jump, and climbing gear is limited. But humans improvise. We'll use vines, rocks, and teamwork. One wrong move and it's fatal. But we can do it. Lila nodded. We've faced worse. Humans don't back down from challenges. They began their descent. Mira moved cautiously, her legs still weak. But the team supported her every step. Jaren and Kara secured vines to sturdy trees, creating makeshift ropes for balance. Lila held Mira's hand tightly as they navigated slippery rocks and jagged edges. Halfway down, the ground beneath Mira shifted. A loose stone sent her stumbling, and she barely caught herself on a vine. Heart racing, she whispered. Humans, keep calm. Adapt quickly. Lila steadied her mother. We've got you, Mom. Humans face danger and survive because we stay smart and work together. Reaching the river, they paused to assess the next obstacle. The water was deep and swift, filled with unseen currents and rocks. Jaren scanned upstream and found a series of partially submerged boulders, forming a natural bridge. Careful steps, he instructed. Humans don't panic. We calculate, we observe, we act. One by one, they crossed, testing each rock before committing their weight. Mira's heart pounded with each step, but the team's careful guidance ensured she moved safely. Even the jungle's dangers couldn't break their determination. Once across, they began the climb up the opposite side. The slope was steep, slick, and jagged, but the humans used vines and teamwork to pull each other up. Every handhold, every step was deliberate, demonstrating the combination of caution and courage that defined humanity. Near the top, a sudden screech startled them. A swarm of flying creatures, glowing and fast, circled overhead, drawn by their movement. Panic could have set in, but humans were not prone to giving up under fear. Kara activated a small flare to create light and noise, diverting the swarm. Humans turn threats into opportunities, she shouted. We use our minds to survive. The swarm scattered toward the forest below, and the team reached the plateau safely. Exhausted, but alive, they looked over the new area. It was flat, covered in alien grass and dotted with strange flowering plants. The plateau offered a safe space to set up a temporary base. Mira sank to the ground, breathing heavily but smiling. We survived. Humans. Think. Plan. Work together. We endure. Adapt. Triumph. Lila knelt beside her mother. Mom, this is what makes humans extraordinary. Jaren and Kara began setting up temporary shelters, collecting water, and securing the area. We can rest for a while, but we must remain alert. Iridia is full of surprises, Jaren reminded them. The humans gathered around a small fire. Sparks danced in the humid air, and the jungle's distant roars reminded them that danger was never far away. Yet within the circle of light, they felt safe, accomplished, and united. Mira looked at her companions. The jungle tests humans, but we respond. Not with brute force, but with brains, heart, and will. That's why we survive where others fail. Lila smiled. Every obstacle makes us stronger. Every danger makes us wiser. Humans don't just endure, we overcome. That's our nature. The night deepened, and the plateau grew quiet except for the soft rustling of leaves and distant animal calls. Mira allowed herself to rest, feeling the exhaustion of the day in her muscles. Yet, she also felt pride and hope. Humans faced impossible odds and emerged stronger because they relied on their intelligence, creativity, and unity. Jaren reviewed their equipment, making notes for future exploration. We've proven today that humans can overcome almost anything. Venom, predators, rivers, cliffs. Aridia challenged us. But we prevailed. That's human spirit. Kara added. It's more than survival. It's learning, adapting, and preparing for the next challenge. Humans grow stronger with each test. We thrive in adversity. Mira nodded, looking at the jungle beyond the plateau. The trees stretched high. The shadows deepened, and unknown creatures watched from afar. Yet humans had conquered the day. They had faced life-threatening danger and survived through teamwork, cleverness, and courage. Lila rested her hand on her mother's arm. Tomorrow, we'll explore further, learn more, and face whatever comes next. Humans always do. Mira smiled, feeling a deep connection to the team. Yes, humans. Endure, adapt, fight, think, and survive. That is our true strength. That is why we thrive. Even in worlds as dangerous as Aridia, the team settled into their makeshift camp. Fires glowed softly, shelters held against the night, and humans rested, alert but unafraid. For them, danger was never the end. It was a challenge to overcome. And humans, with brains, courage, and unity, always found a way. As the stars appeared above the alien jungle, Mira reflected on the day's trials. They had survived venom, predators, treacherous terrain, and a swarm of creatures. But most importantly, they had relied on human ingenuity, resilience, and cooperation, the qualities that made their species extraordinary. The jungle was still alive with unknown threats, but humans were alive, alert, and stronger than ever. And tomorrow, they would rise again, ready to face the challenges of Aridia, with the same spirit that had carried them through today. The morning mist clung to the plateau, softening the harsh edges of Aridia's jungle. Birds with metallic-colored feathers called to each other from distant trees, and strange insects hummed in synchronized patterns. Mira stood near the edge, feeling the cool breeze on her face. Her leg had regained strength, and the venom incident now felt like a distant memory. Yet the jungle was unpredictable, alive with unseen dangers. Lila adjusted her backpack, scanning the area with practiced eyes. Today, we push further into the heart of Aridia, she said. There's a valley beyond the next ridge. We need to map it, collect samples, and understand what lives there. Jaren checked their equipment. The jungle tested us yesterday, and we survived. But we can't be careless. Humans thrive by observing, planning, and acting with intelligence. That will be our key today. Kara nodded, arranging her chemical and analytical instruments. And if we encounter venomous creatures, predators, or unstable terrain, we are prepared. We have our knowledge, tools, and teamwork. Humans can face almost anything if we work together. Mira smiled. Humans endure, humans adapt, humans think. That is why we survive and thrive. Even in worlds like this, the team moved carefully down the slope toward the valley. Roots, vines, and uneven ground made every step a challenge, but the humans navigated it with skill and patience. They observed the jungle closely, documenting plants, insects, and minor animal encounters. Every detail mattered, and every observation strengthened their understanding of Aridia. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground. Dust fell from the overhanging trees, and the team froze. A massive predator, far larger than any they had seen before, emerged from the dense foliage. Its scales shimmered in dark, iridescent colors, and its eyes glowed with a menacing intensity. Its roar reverberated through the valley, echoing off the cliffs. "Stay calm," Jaren shouted. "Humans survive by staying smart, not panicking. Observe, plan, and act." The creature advanced, moving with terrifying speed. The team instinctively formed a protective formation around Mira, knowing that brute force would not help. They had survived smaller predators before, but this one was enormous and intelligent. Kara whispered, "We need a diversion, something to distract it long enough for us to analyze and respond." Lila grabbed a flare and hurled it toward a group of nearby trees. The light burst in brilliant red, drawing the predator's attention. It snarled and turned, investigating the new stimulus. "That's it," Jaren said. "Humans think ahead, create opportunities, and act decisively. Now we move." While the predator was distracted, Kara set up a device that emitted high-frequency sounds, disorienting it. The creature roared in confusion, thrashing its massive limbs. Jaren and Lila quickly created a makeshift barrier with logs and vines, slowing the predator's movements. Mira felt her heart pound, but she remained steady. Humans endure. Because we think, we adapt, and we never give up. The predator, frustrated and unable to reach them, finally retreated a short distance, keeping watch. The team used this opportunity to continue deeper into the valley, documenting the terrain and noting the predator's behavior. The valley opened into a wide expanse of alien flora, glowing softly under the filtered sunlight. Plants with translucent leaves swayed in a gentle breeze, and small creatures with bioluminescent bodies moved in synchronized patterns. The humans paused to observe, realizing that survival on Iridia required respect, intelligence, and patience. Jaren spoke softly. "This is why humans thrive. We don't just survive, we learn. We observe. We prepare for the future." Kara nodded, collecting samples. "Every discovery we make, every obstacle we overcome, strengthens us. Humans adapt to environments no other species could endure." Mira felt a deep sense of pride. "It's true. Humans are fragile. Yes, but we think, cooperate, and persevere. That is our greatest strength." As they explored, they noticed a narrow canyon ahead, with a rushing river at the bottom. Crossing it would be risky, but the plateau beyond promised more discoveries and safety. Jaren assessed the situation. "We can't rush. Humans succeed through careful planning, observation, and teamwork. Let's create a safe crossing." The team collected strong vines and tested boulders along the river's edge. Using their ingenuity, they built a rope bridge and reinforced it with supports from fallen logs. Mira stepped cautiously onto the bridge first, feeling the swaying beneath her feet. "Humans overcome challenges through courage and cleverness," she said softly, "one careful step at a time." Lila followed, helping her mother balance while checking the stability of each section. Jaren and Kara followed, moving strategically to maintain the bridge's strength. Halfway across, the river swirled with unexpected currents. But the humans adapted, shifting their weight, reinforcing the vines, and moving as one coordinated unit. Finally, they reached the other side safely. Cheers erupted quietly, for the team knew the jungle was still dangerous, but they had survived the challenge. Night began to fall, casting long shadows across the valley. The humans set up a small camp near a grove of glowing trees. Fires were lit carefully, and the team reviewed their day's findings. The predator had been avoided, venom threats had been neutralized, and dangerous terrain had been crossed. Mira sat beside the fire, reflecting on the journey. "We faced life-threatening danger today. But humans never surrender. We think, we plan, we work together, and we survive. That is our greatest gift." Lila nodded, leaning against her mother. "Every challenge makes us stronger. Humans are not the fastest or the strongest, but our minds, our courage, and our teamwork allow us to thrive." Jaren added, "Humans endure in ways no other species can. We learn from every experience, adapt, and improve. That is why we survive in places like Iridia." Kara smiled, looking at the glowing plants. And it's more than survival. Humans grow, evolve, and prepare for the future. Every obstacle we overcome strengthens us. That's human ingenuity and spirit. Mira felt a deep sense of awe. They had faced venom, predators, treacherous terrain, storms, and uncertainty. Each time, humans had relied on intelligence, creativity, and cooperation to prevail. She realized that strength alone could not have saved them. Their minds and hearts had done it. Suddenly, a distant roar echoed from the far side of the valley. A larger predator than before was approaching, moving swiftly through the forest. The team's hearts raced, but fear did not control them. Humans were not defined by fear, they were defined by their response to it. Jaren spoke calmly. We know what to do. Humans survive because we remain calm, think, and act decisively. Let's use what we've learned. The team set up a combination of flares, noise devices, and visual distractions. They coordinated their movements to mislead the predator while maintaining a secure perimeter around the camp. The creature roared, confused by the humans' ingenuity. Every attempt to reach them was thwarted by clever tactics, improvised tools, and coordinated teamwork. After several tense minutes, the predator retreated, leaving the humans unscathed. Mira exhaled slowly, feeling a mix of relief and triumph. Humans endure, adapt, survive. No challenge is too great when we face it together. Lila smiled, squeezing her mother's hand. We've proven it. Humans are resilient, intelligent, and brave. That is why we thrive. The night deepened, and the jungle grew quieter. The humans rested, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, but confident in their ability to overcome them. They had survived venomous bites, deadly predators, treacherous terrain, and unpredictable storms. Every time, humans had relied on intelligence, creativity, and cooperation qualities no other species could match. Mira looked around at the team, feeling pride and hope. We survived because humans think, adapt, and work together. That is our true strength. That is why humanity thrives. In any environment, against any danger. The stars appeared above the alien jungle, faint and twinkling through the canopy. The humans were alive, alert, and stronger than ever. The jungle would remain dangerous, but humans had proven that they could face anything with courage, ingenuity, and unity. As the team settled into rest, Mira reflected on their journey. They had faced some of the deadliest threats Iridia could offer, yet they endured. They had relied on brains, creativity, and teamwork, turning danger into triumph. For humans, challenges were never the end. They were opportunities to adapt, grow, and succeed. And on Iridia, as on every world, humans would rise to meet them undaunted, unbroken, unstoppable. The jungle whispered around them, alive with secrets. But humans were alive too. And more than alive, they were thriving. And that, Mira knew, was the essence of humanity.